The story of Saint Therese of the Child Jesus. Saint Therese of the Child Jesus, also known as Saint Therese of Lisieux or the Little Flower, was born as Marie-Françoise Therese Martin on January 2, 1873, in Alsace, France. She would become one of the most beloved and influential saints in the Catholic Church, not for grand achievements, but for her little way of humble love and trust in God. Therese was born into a devout Catholic family. Her parents, Louis and Zélie Martin, were deeply religious and were later canonized as saints. Therese was the youngest of 9 children, though only 5 survived into adulthood. Her early years were filled with love and faith, but they were also marked by loss. When she was just 4 years old, her mother died of breast cancer. This tragedy left a deep impact on young Therese, who became more sensitive and spiritually aware. Her family moved to Lisieux after her mother's death, where she was raised by her father and her older sisters. Therese looked up to her sisters, especially Pauline, who eventually became a nun. From an early age, Therese desired to give her whole life to God. Therese was a bright and passionate child, but also deeply sensitive. She experienced a powerful spiritual conversion at the age of 14, which she later described as the moment when she received the strength of soul to overcome her fears and insecurities. On Christmas Eve, 1886, Therese had an inner transformation, where she felt a call to renounce her childish ways and follow the path of spiritual maturity. She soon expressed her desire to join the Carmelite convent in Lisieux, where 2 of her sisters had already entered. Though she was considered too young, she was determined and even made a pilgrimage to Rome with her father to ask Pope Leo XIII for special permission to enter the convent at 15. Her boldness and faith impressed many, and she was eventually allowed to join the Carmelite order. In the convent, Therese lived a life of prayer, simplicity, and love. Despite her hidden and seemingly ordinary life, she developed a profound spirituality based on her desire to do small things with great love for God. She called this her little way, a path of holiness accessible to everyone, rooted in trusting God like a child and offering even the smallest acts of love and sacrifice for His glory. Therese never sought grand gestures or heroic deeds. Instead, she focused on finding God in the mundane moments of daily life, offering her sufferings, joys, and acts of kindness as expressions of love. Her little way became a powerful spiritual philosophy that inspired countless people worldwide. At the age of 23, Therese began to experience the symptoms of tuberculosis, which would eventually take her life. Despite her intense physical suffering, she remained joyful and faithful to God, offering her pain for the salvation of souls. She once said, "I want to spend my heaven doing good on earth." Her illness deepened her understanding of her little way, and led her to trust even more in God's mercy. She wrote down her thoughts and spiritual insights in a series of journals, later published as her autobiography, Story of a Soul, which became a spiritual classic. On September 30, 1897, Therese died at the age of 24. Her last words were, "My God, I love you." Despite her short life and hidden existence, her legacy would spread far beyond the walls of the convent. After her death, devotion to Therese spread quickly. Her autobiography, Story of a Soul, touched the hearts of people around the world with its message of childlike trust in God's love. Many began to pray to her for help, and numerous miracles were attributed to her intercession. In 1925, just 28 years after her death, Therese was canonized a saint by Pope Pius XI. She was later declared a Doctor of the Church by Pope John Paul II in 1997, in recognition of her profound spiritual teachings despite her simple and unassuming life. She became one of only a few women to receive this title. Therese is often depicted surrounded by roses, symbolizing the shower of roses she promised to send as a sign of her intercession. To this day, she is lovingly known as the Little Flower, a symbol of humility, simplicity, and love. Saint Therese of the Child Jesus teaches us that holiness is not reserved for a select few but is accessible to all who love God and trust in Him. Her little way encourages us to find God in the simple, everyday moments of life and to offer each act, no matter how small, as a gift to Him. Her life continues to inspire millions of people around the world, reminding us that even in our hiddenness and simplicity, we can live a life of extraordinary love and faith. Therese is a patroness of missionaries, despite never leaving her convent, showing that prayer and love can reach every corner of the world. Her feast day is celebrated on October 1st, and she remains a beloved saint, offering comfort and encouragement to those who seek to follow her little way to God.